Welcome to the Free Range Families podcast, where we, Britt
and Christina, show you the beauty of homeschooling through a lens of faith
and freedom,
and always a bit of humor.
Yeah, we're back.
And we're back.
I like your shirt.
Thank you. I like your shirt.
Mine has bleach stains on it.
Yeah, mine doesn't. But it says it's
Mine doesn't.
Mine doesn't.
So adorable.
Only you can prevent socialism.
Yeah.
You know what? Like,
I have this on my car too. It's a bumper sticker.
My grandparents would have loved this shirt.
I love this shirt.
Like,
did I buy this shirt first and then you copied me, or did we both bought this shirt together?
No, I totally copied you. So like this was my introduction to you.
Yes.
This is the first time I met you at one of our homes. Well, okay, not the first time. The first time I met you was at like the orientation for the homeschool co-op, which is what we're talking about today. We're going to be talking about co-ops, how to get them started, how to find the right one, blah, blah, blah. Lots of information.
Blood, sweat, and tears.
Woo. But the first like official co-op meeting that we had of like gathering of everyone, I was introduced to you on your homestead with your hair all wild and mismatched. I love you. And like and just like that shirt on, and you would like paint all over you. Yep. And you're and I remember driving in, and you just yelled out, "Watch out for the dog poop." And I was like, I love this woman. Yep. I love this even though we are so like wildly different, we have the same heart.
Really?
We do vibe
yes,
well.
our intentions are the same.
I saw this shirt and I remember immediately going home and telling my husband, "Oh my gosh, she had the coolest shirt on. I loved it." And then,
but I just think this is perfect because yours is like totally clean and pressed, and mine has bleach stains on it. Yeah. And it's like,
but this showed up through Amazon like 2 days later because he bought it for me because I was like,
I love it. It's really soft too.
I know. It's a nice color.
It is.
And
it's good.
So
I might have to get a new one though because mine's faded a little bit.
No, yours is awesome. We'll see. All right. So we are talking today about homeschooling co-ops, and that one of the, I think, scariest part of homeschooling for people is that feeling like I have to do this alone. Like I have no support group. And that is such.
Or that my kids are never going to have friends.
Oh yeah. No socialization. Yeah. They're never going to have friends. Who do I talk to if I don't know what I'm doing or if something's not working? But a co-op is kind of your perfect solution for all of that. Yes. But there's like 900,843 types of co-ops.
There's so many. And
it might be an exaggeration.
No, I know. I'm not on social, but there's so many on social media.
Like just in the Tucson area. I remember when we started homeschooling, we were looking for just a group to get together with. I mean, I think there were 7 or 8 different homeschool-based Facebook groups that each then had like different groups within that. Yep. And, I was reached out to by so many different people, and it was a big deal going through and trying to find the right fit.
That's why it's called homeschool co-ops and itchy socks, because it's not always the right fit.
It's not always.
No, it's not always. And I'm not going to, that can't be sugar coated. You can't go into it thinking that it's going to be all sparkles and we're here.
There's some controversy.
Yes.
So we're going to bring out the controversy chicken.
Oh, I love the chicken.
CiCi, our controversy chicken. Did I just name him?
Yeah, maybe.
CiCi, the controversy chicken. All right. So there is some controversy with homeschooling co-ops.
Do you need them?
Do you want them?
Mm-hmm.
Do they fit?
And some people don't.
And no.
And they shouldn't have them because it doesn't fit their homeschooling style or what they're, trying to get.
And that's the other thing. You really have to find a co-op that not only coincides with your personalities, because that is important. You are going to be, these are the people that you are choosing to be your village. We talked about that chosen, but I don't want the village raising my kids unless I choose that village. Yes. So our homeschool co-op is our chosen village to help us in this journey. So you have to have the personalities right, but you also have to have alignment in your educational goals and then the way the co-op is run, because there are everything from co-ops which have they meet every Friday
and you sign your life in blood.
Yes, so you have to these are the classes. I remember there's a Catholic co-op in town that, so being Catholic, I was like, hey, let's get some information. And lovely people,
Yes.
very nice, very, accommodating. They kept trying to reach out, but just after talking with them, I knew that wasn't going to be the fit for us because it was
Meet every Friday.
Yes. And it was, these are the classes that we're teaching this year. And then you have to be a part of it. And then what will you contribute? And then when I say what I would be interested in contribute, that doesn't fit. This is what you can contribute. Like, and I respect that. That's how they do things.
Because there's some people where that is a perfect fit.
Yeah. But it wasn't what we needed. It wasn't flexible enough for our schedules. It wasn't flexible enough the fact that we travel a lot, but also I do work. I just work from home and I create my own schedule, and so does my husband. But I have to be able to say, hey, Wednesday, I am not teaching anything because I'm a commercial photographer. I have product
Thursdays
being delivered and I've got to do
my
it.
house.
Yeah.
Like, baby, I'm serious.
I know.
Like, that's why I could never do. We did that same thing where before we started Hug, we went around and joined a couple different co-ops, and it wasn't the right fit, and you kind of find that out fairly quickly. So at least for me. And then at that point, you don't push it. You just, hey, this isn't working and we're going to go find a different one.
And I'm a big believer though, also in if you, the field of dreams, if you build it, they will come. But I remember when I started this and how I found you is.
But it's what you project too.
It is. What I wasn't finding the right fit. And so in one of the groups, I just said, you know what? I'm not finding a right fit. Let me just see if I can find a group of people that maybe I was actually not necessarily thinking of starting my own co-op, but I was like, let's see if I can find 3 or 4 families that I can connect with and that have similar age kids. So I put out there for like a hike. And I wound up getting like 30 people that came on that hike. And by the end of that hike, one family, Lisette.
Was it Lisette?
It was Lisette. So at the end of that hike, there was one family, and it's so hilarious.
I did not know that.
So the funny thing is we went to Sabino Canyon and we're hiking along, and everybody started out together. And then it was like a comedy. Like they just started dropping off.
Birds of a feather flock together.
And by the end of the hike, it was only me, my 2 boys, Lisette, her 2 boys. And we were like, oh, we have found our people.
Yeah.
And she was the one who had just heard about Hug. And the next week we connected.
It was orientation like the next week?
It was orientation like the next week. And she said, hey, we started talking. We were texting each other back and forth because we felt a connection to each other. And we saw that our boys were connecting. So she was the one who invited me to the Hug orientation.
Cool.
So it's like, it's interesting
I don't remember
how
which orientation this was. Was this?
This was the one in the L offices.
Oh, okay.
So one thing
that was a good one.
Like it was a great one. So if you don't see what's out there, if you try different things and you're like, I'm not seeing it, sometimes you have to build it.
Yes, that's what I did.
Yes, and that's what I want to talk to you about. Yeah. So this is my interview session with you. I'm going to use my interview voice. What? You don't like my interview voice?
No, it just makes me super nervous.
I can see the sweat building.
I know. I need my chicken.
The chicken is here for you.
Okay.
CiCi is here.
Okay. I love it. You can't touch it. Don't touch.
So, face the camera, CiCi. There you go.
Okay.
All right. So, talk about how you went about building an actual co-op, because it's easy, or I should say, it's a heck of a lot easier to find a co-op than it is to build one.
It is. That's why I have dark circles under my eyes.
And you've done a phenomenal job building.
It's been a long time.
Such a great group.
It's been a long time. Actually, it started out before. I think we had pulled the kids. Yeah, we had pulled the kids. I was still working in the district as an after-school program. So I was teaching performing arts, like a dance program to after-school kids. And I remember sitting outside with my husband and I was like, I want to do some sort of nonprofit. I want to make a nonprofit where I am giving these after-school kids an opportunity to do something. So they're not just sitting in their after. I mean, they're there for a long time.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And it was super budget friendly. It was like $10 a class or something like that. And we put on these cool performances. And so that's actually where it started. And then I realized that I really liked running it. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of like my own deal. And then I realized too that my children, I think my oldest, not that he needed friends necessarily, but I was getting concerned with, even though he was enrolled in like music and all these other things, that I wanted him to connect with somebody. Just, I don't care about the 30 kids in class, who's the loudest and most obnoxious, and we all want to follow that kid. I just wanted my child to connect with somebody. So
I've always told my kids, you need one hand.
It could be
the
a
five,
dolphin.
You need five. You're the
me.
What is it? You're the sum of the 5 people closest
Yep.
to you. Make those 5 people the best you can make them.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
And so it was either through extracurriculars, which you get a little bit of time, or you can put effort into building something where you have more time spent with these people. And so when we tried a couple different co-ops, and it was actually, we formed this during the COVID craze. This is kind of like I know we're going to
like trial by
there.
fire.
And went into one of the co-ops. It was like Valentine's Day, and they asked us to mask up. And I was like,
I'm out.
what are we doing here? Like, we're all here in this co-op with the same kind of things. And I thought we were over this. This is like a Christian homeschool co-op. Like, we're all like-minded. And no, I'm not doing this. This is why half the people left, because we're not, mandating masks.
Well, that's why I started
that.
That's why I started that hike, because somebody else had done a hike and required everybody to mask up on the hike. And I said, you've got to be joking, right?
Like, really? I don't know.
We're on a hike outside.
Yeah.
Guys.
So then we came back and we were at the park, and I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I need to find my people. I need there to be a group of people where it is important that we have the same values, where we're not coming to the co-op scared of each other's, air, right? Obviously, don't come if you're sick, but like,
common
let's
sense.
come outside the boxes and realize that we're, still humans.
I want to make a point on that, because I think a lot of people, that is a point of contention.
That's why we have the chicken at this episode.
Because one of the things I hear about homeschooling, they're like, oh, you're only surrounding yourself with like-minded people. It's like, okay, but that's life. Like, yes, you have to work with everybody, but don't we all naturally gravitate towards the people who we feel are going to lift us up and make us better people? And those are like-minded doesn't mean identical.
No.
And in our homeschool co-op, we are so vastly different, but our core values and our core morals and our way of thinking in terms of education, our expectations, those are similar enough that we can create a community where we can all grow. Yes. And our kids feel that anywhere they go within that group, any parent who's teaching something or any house that they go to, there's going to be a level of expectation, a level of behavior requirements that they just feel comfortable and natural. And guess what? Like, kids need structure.
I'm getting all these thoughts as you're talking.
I know,
so
right?
I'm trying to hold on to them. I need to write them
Write them down.
Okay.
My biggest pet peeve, especially with people who don't know how to deal with older kids, is people think that, oh, the older the kids get, the less they need people teaching them. It's like, no. Teenagers, they need structure. When they have structure and parameters and guidelines and very specific expectations, they thrive.
No, they do thrive.
They 100%. Do not thrive in chaos.
No.
Kids need that to grow.
But on the flip side, there's a total, and this is where you can get into like styles of teaching or philosophy of teaching. There is a philosophy of teaching. I kind of group homeschoolers in thirds. Okay. So this is also a really contentious. Just clear nostrils. Okay. 1/3 is like bubble parents. Okay. I love you, bubble parents. Looking at you. But like, they don't leave their house.
Yeah.
They don't join homeschool co-ops. I think there's a certain amount of security in teaching your kids how to discern, but they also need to see what's happening in the world to a certain extent, so that, because it's not going anywhere. It's like, it's there. So I need my children to understand that, hey, that is wrong. We don't like this, and be able to stand up for it, but they're not going to know that unless they're a little bit exposed at the right levels.
Absolutely.
So that's 1/3. Then there's a third of parents that are like, we are homeschooling and we are not doing anything and we are running around. Yes. Okay. And like, I don't care if we bring a spear to the park. Like, this is happening right now.
There's societal norms that I feel like we need to like.
Okay. So there's, and so I would categorize them in one box where they don't really gravitate towards a curriculum. It's very much just a free for all and
Whatever.
chaos, I guess.
What does my child want to learn today?
There are groups that are fully based on that and they thrive together. But this is what I'm trying to say. Birds of a feather flock together.
Yes.
I would not do well in that kind of group. I also would not do well in the kind of group that doesn't get out. I do well in the group that has a little bit of balance of both. And that means that we are teaching our kids at home how we see, but it's not complete unschooling. Okay.
Right.
It's definitely like
There's structure, there's a curriculum,
learning, and there's a goal at the end of
Yes.
the, you know what I mean? And we also want to be able to connect with the world around us. So I do want them to be able to be around kids of different ages and that kind of thing. But just like the village thing that we were talking about, I really think it is I don't want to have to undo things within my own homeschool co-op that they're learning from their peers, because parents and I are not seeing eye to eye on our
Correct.
values or our morals or ethics. So, if you have a kiddo who is, thinking they're a unicorn at 2 or 3, this is okay. But at 13,
Not so much.
I don't know.
There's little bit of reality that we need to.
Yeah. And so it's
Still.
but this is where we have to be able to, and this is why this is a really controversial episode, is we have to be able to have that discussion and be real with ourselves. Like, that co-op did not work. Okay. It's not a good fit. And so we need to find a different one. We don't school like that. We don't do that. So it doesn't work.
And the thing is that our way of doing things is, if that works for you, go for it.
No,
but
I know.
that doesn't
All the
work
power
for
too, but it doesn't work for us.
But it doesn't work for us. So we're going to find our own or make our own way.
And it is also about your convictions as a family too.
Yes.
Like, I don't want my kids becoming misbehaved. If you don't care about that, then that's cool. But these are things that are important to my family.
But as I tell everybody in our homeschool group, if you need to use a chancla on my child, go for it.
Let's set in the chancla.
I'm the chancla lady.
It's so funny. So then anyways, I left that Valentine's Day party and I came to the park and I was like, I'm making my own homeschool co-op. And then I'm,
and your husband thought you were
big
crazy.
thinking. And I was like, if there is a system, I can make a system that is better than public school, that is better than any of these homeschool co-ops. And that way parents, so there was another catch too. There's an agenda to my whole thing. I wanted a mass exodus of public schools. Okay. So if I can figure out how to make it appealing to parents that, like, hey, I can leave the government schools because there's a community out here that does graduation and has Valentine's Day parties and has Christmas parties and a yearbook and, all the great things.
Book clubs and
yes,
kids get together and they do things. Like, it's literally, you took everything that was missing from the homeschool community of like like you said, the community part aspect of what they get at a school.
Yes.
And you created it.
Yes. And so, but it was hard to figure out how I wanted to do it. I didn't want it all over social media only because I wanted it more structured. So we made a website, and Heather's been instrumental behind that organization, everything. Because I remember many meetings saying, hey, I want an interactive calendar. I want a calendar where a parent can be like, hey, I want to teach an art class. And it comes to me. It's not so structured as we meet every Friday. It's volunteering, and I'm going to pull your expertise for science. I'm going to pull your expertise for Spanish, because we all have that different thing and we can put it together.
And it's like you created the group, but you're not the group. It's a community really does come together and created a situation where, yes, you're in charge, but it's not just Brit's group.
No.
It's the hug group, and
That's where the agenda comes. The name homeschool, what hug is? It's homeschool underground.
Mm-hmm.
Like
the
Quakers saving the slaves. Like, literally, that's where I got the name. We're saving our kids from a life of slavery in the public school system.
Right.
So it wasn't like homeschooling I know.
That's a controversial statement.
There is totally an agenda to this. And I really wanted it to be pleasing to parents, and so that they could see that there was a different avenue for them. So, and it's evolved
amazing
so much over the last 4 years. I mean,
we've been in it for 2, and I've seen the
4 or
evolution.
5 years, I can't remember. We're in 2024. Yeah. It has, and it has evolved. I mean, I remember we just started out using like Google Forms or Google whatever, and then meeting certain places. And now we have structure to everything. Our kids are made best friends. Parents are there. But that's also why, but like within our homeschool co-op, we have a raise statement that we just kind of implemented this year.
Which I love.
I know, I do too. Because, like birds of a feather flock together, we want our children, at least within Hug, to hold them to a certain expectation. So, especially because when we go to field trips, I want a good report.
Right.
I mean, that's how as easy as it is. I want to be able to come back to the science center because your homeschool kids were so awesome.
Exactly. We want to show people the potential of what a homeschool group can be, what homeschool kids are really like. Like the majority of homeschool kids are
inquisitive,
respectful, intelligent, able to have communication with all age groups. They are self-motivated.
Yep.
There's so much negative press about homeschooling.
Yeah,
but yet it's really, and I'm not saying that the negative press isn't warranted.
No,
it is.
I think
to
in
a point.
some respects it
but
is. Yes,
there are aspects like you can find,
but there's negativities in everything.
But it's like when people go on Google and review places.
Yeah.
Most people are going to go on and review the bad reviews because they had a horrible experience. So that's what you hear. You hear that squeaky wheel about the negative. We need to change that and have the squeaky wheel talk about the positives, the good.
And you also have to really look into, like intrinsically look into and figure out what you want from your homeschool world.
Yeah.
Do you want something that is you wake up every morning and then you don't have anything to do necessarily, and that there is lots of pluses to having a slow kind of, I love slow days.
Yeah,
I love it.
They're necessary,
and we need to be able to reset. So that is part of the reason that I wasn't with Hug. Like, you have to show up every Friday because of the flexibility. We wanted flexibility in our schedule. We wanted to be able to be like, hey, it's not working out for us this Friday. Stuff is happening, so we can't show up. And so Hug is more of it's freedom based. I mean, that's our whole core is like the free homeschooling.
Freedom to choose.
Freedom. Yeah. And so you can come to graduation or you don't have to come to graduation. We'd love you to come to graduation because it's like a huge event. Or you can come to the cake class, or if it doesn't work out for you, you don't have to come to baking class, but the opportunity is there for you to meet, other people. And we do really put emphasis on the members instead of just like 4 people running it. Okay. So that's the difference too between our co-op and a lot of it. Instead of just 4 people running it, we try to have the emphasis that everybody plays a part in it because we want them invested in our community.
Absolutely. Which is, I always laugh that you hate the village idea because you've created the village.
Yep, I created my village.
You created
I don't like the village statement because Hillary Clinton said it.
And I get it because totally get it. Wait.
Okay. I don't like it because I know it takes a village and we can all work, but ultimately parents are responsible for their children. And it's the salt and light argument. Okay. Which I agree to a certain extent. I'm going to put my kids in an environment. And I'm talking about my kids because I can handle my own. So I'm older, right? But I'm going to put my kids in an environment. I'm going to pray that they're going to discern. I'm going to pray that their vibe and morality is going to, leak into these other kids. But a lot of the time that doesn't happen. And what happens is your children actually are taken down to a level that you're not happy with or something that you don't believe in. And so that is where the pendulum switch. There's times for the salt and light, and I think we should be salt and light to the world, but to our kids, I want them to be surrounded with children that they see eye to eye on, so that when they're in those different situations, because at this age,
children are sponges.
Yes,
they are sponges, and they are literally
to have the backbone
soaking everything in to create the person they're going to be as adults. And as adults, the salt and the light works.
Yes, I think
that does. But as children, you're still trying. Their brains are literally still developing and trying to figure out. What is truth? What is my truth? What do I want from the world?
Yes.
And it is our job to help them navigate that. So I get what you mean.
Somebody that wants to use a litter box in the bathroom and whatever. I'm hoping that by the time they are out in that situation, they can be the salt and the light to that person and be like, hey, I'm not sure this is like, you know, gravy. I don't understand this because you're a human and that's not what humans do.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Biology.
Okay.
But anyway.
Right. So, but that's my point is that I can do that.
I have a degree in biology, so I can say that.
That you can pee in a litter box?
No, that it's biology. I'm allowed to say that because I'm a biologist.
Okay.
I'm just saying I'm allowed to make those types of definitions because I am actually a
that's fine.
certified biologist.
Yeah.
Just
I'm a tree.
Yeah.
So,
but no, I get it. So creating that group and creating that
I love this
community.
episode so much, and I can't wait to not watch all the social media feed that's happening. No, but that's it. Yes, you have to create something. So getting back on if you are going to start your own homeschool co-op, be prepared.
Be prepared.
It was so hard.
Understand that it's going to go through iterations of the group. Like you're going to be changing. Like it's 4 years now?
You have to be able to adapt. That's the biggest thing.
What we're going into this year is wildly different than 2 years ago when we joined. Like I see the changes. I think they're all for the better.
But you know what I think it is? I think we have a lot of similar birds of a feather flock together. We have a lot of similar personalities where they are go-getters and they're invested in the community more than I've ever seen before. So running a class, that kind of thing has been, I mean, they're heavily invested.
Right. We have a lot of,
it's not
right.
just
We have
like,
a lot of
hey,
parents
we're
are saying, what can I do?
Yes.
All of a sudden this past year, I've seen the change of, well, how do you want me to help? Yeah. How can I help? I am here. I am ready to help. Here are some ideas, as opposed to where maybe in the past it was, oh, I'll help if you need me. Just tell me what you, like literally like give me all the instructions.
But that didn't happen. I don't think it happened on its own. I pushed for, some people did it on their own.
Some people do.
But I had to push for like, hey, so like this year going forward, we actually have a plethora of opportunities to sign up to run a field trip or whatever. Or if none of that fits, you can, email me or text me and we'll see what we can fit on the calendar. But it's a requirement.
It's the expectation that you will participate in this community. You will give back to the community and not just take. So you created a community of givers as opposed to a community of takers, which a lot of times, and that's what I didn't like about some of the homeschool groups that I found, is that I felt like I would just be a taker and I don't want that. That's not my personality.
There's a difference between an institution and a community. Yeah. If we're going to go on that like tangent.
Oh, gosh,
is the institutions, it's all about taking, you set up a PTA, you do this, and then everybody just reaps the benefits of what these 4 or 5 people do. But community, even if there's hard times, you have to be able to work together. And you all are so invested into it that it's hard to leave, I guess is what I'm saying. So because you really want your children to grow up alongside their friends, So that's HUG. I know there's an agenda.
Yeah, but life is an agenda.
No,
life
I
is an
love
agenda.
it. I love it. That's part of the reason that,
And we're very grateful to you for creating said group, because my kids have best friends, and
I know it's been
both
awesome.
of them found their best friends in the group, and
it's awesome. If you are going to do it, though, you should have like that's the other thing is central meeting places. This has always been an issue for us because we're spread out. Our group runs.
We're 45 minutes away from each other.
Arizona. Yeah.
I mean, we've got.
But we make it work in thinking outside the box. Like book club. We meet over at yours, but it's everybody in the homeschool. It's all ages. If you're going to host, you have to be able, that's what I'm saying. You have to be able to adapt and bend a little bit. If you want to go to art class and so-and-so is hosting at their house, then you need to probably make the time to make the drive or put it in your schedule. But it's not like, hey, drive 45 minutes every Friday.
Right. You decide whether it works for your schedule or not. Yeah. And we sit down even with the kids that are like, oh, I really want to do all these things. It's like, okay, well, I'm not going to be driving 45 minutes here and then there. And then, so you need to pick this semester, what do you truly want to invest in? And then we'll do it.
Yeah. And I don't even I run the thing. I don't even participate in every single thing that we have because I'm already exhausted and there would be no time to teach my children.
Right.
So that is also the thing.
Yes. That's being able to actually have quality teaching time and not just socialization.
There was a huge battle with me. Do I want to keep running this? Because I'm not making it's a free thing, right? all this time invested into this homeschool group,
Goes
working
right
on the thing.
back to
And then what am I ignoring over here? So how can I figure out how to make this more streamlined? Well, I need to get the parents involved in the community. So it's not just one person running the show the whole time. And so that's where we are today.
I think it's in a really good spot too.
It is a good spot.
It is.
It's only going to go up.
So.
Oh, there's the other thing. How to find one though.
Oh.
Like, where do you find one? Social media. But
Yep.
like, we're not on social media. Like, I don't think Hug is, unless we promote for our orientation.
Right.
But
that's a choice because you want to keep it very community oriented, like-minded. And it's a lot of, people who are like, hey, I think you'd be a good fit with us because I, know you and I know your values. They will work with what we're
So
trying
if you're
to do
thinking
here.
of opening your own, make sure your expectations are clear, that you have
Yes.
a really crisp mission statement that if people read it, they're like, and I'm out.
Yeah,
Or,
you
this
really
is
want
awesome.
to turn people away that are like, hey, this isn't the group for me. That's okay.
Yep. And then if you aren't going to promote online or just do like a Facebook meetup, or I don't even know how those ones work, getting in with like a national organization, like we're on AFHE's website for like Cochise County and Pima County. You just have to interview and, make sure that you got your stuff in line.
Yeah. And then just plug at it and keep going and understand, like with everything, there's going to be ups and downs. You're going to have controversial moments.
Yeah, and you're working with other parents.
You have multiple personalities that you have to work with. And sometimes you're going to upset people, and that's okay.
Anytime you're in a leadership role.
You're always going to upset someone.
Yeah.
You can't make everyone happy. You're not Nutella.
We had Nutella and croissants last night.
Nice.
So yummy.
On that note.
The croissants. Do we have a quote for this one? Oh, yeah. If the shoe fits, you're lucky. If it doesn't, keep shopping.
Pretty much sums it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that one. Because
right.
you're very lucky if you find homeschool co-op that fits.
Yeah. And it takes sometimes a little trying, but eventually you'll find the right fit, and then
you need to invest in it.
You do.
Yeah.
You need to actually give back to that community so that it grows for everyone.
Well, and it's better for the children, because a lot of times I think that's one of the things that and I'm not going to get all teary-eyed, but because I'm that person that cares so much about the kiddos, when there's any kind of fallout, or if there's a kid that a family just doesn't work, but they've been in for a while, the children are the ones that have really established that relationship. And it's hard for them to leave and then go find, something different. But there's a season and a time for everybody as well.
But it's also, it's life.
Yeah, I know.
This is life. And you're teaching the kids not only that you have to, if you want something to work and you want something to be good for your family, you have to invest in it.
Yes.
You have to work at it. Relationships require work,
Yep.
whether they're marriages, friendships, relationships with your children. Everything requires work and effort and dealing with different personalities. And
yeah, that's what we're supposed to do.
this is such a great, even just the creation of the homeschool co-op is an allegory for life.
It is. Yeah. And you're not going to be perfectly eye to eye with everybody in your co-op at all times. Even if you try to, make your mission statement perfectly crisp, you're going to have to, adjust and I'm not saying bend, because you don't want to bend your morals or your ethics, but agree to disagree.
But there's a little matrix
I guess that's what
action
I'm trying to
going
say,
on where you have to okay, let's figure this out. Yeah.
And bend backwards. That's so funny. We should put a graphic
Put a
together with
matrix.
that. That's funny. Yeah. Anyways.
I bring the humor.
I think that's great. I can see it.
All right.
But that's
So
homeschool co-ops and itchy socks.
There you go.
Yep.
Signing off.
All right.